Because I love making predictions on the channel, and the fact that I did this big PS5 predictions video last year, I thought it'd be a great idea to, at least in the short term, make this an annual thing. So that's why today I will be predicting PlayStation's entire 2020. Of course, ignoring the fact that I'm late, we'll just skip by January, hey? Cut me some slack. We'll be going month by month, and I want to talk about games releasing, how they'll be received, potential upcoming announcements, release date reveals, all that stuff. Sound fun? Alright, let's dive into February, which we're already in, and I don't think much is going to be happening this month in the realm of PlayStation, other than, of course, Destruction All-Stars, which just came out recently. And just like January, I think they're going to remain quiet on the announcements front. But in March, this will change a little bit. Kena Bridge of Spirits, which is a PS5 console exclusive that was originally going to be launching late last year, was delayed into 2021, and current development plans pin it to be releasing in March. And while it could be delayed, I think it'll hit March, and that's where we'll see it release. It looks like a cute, fun little platformer thing, so I'll probably give it a shot. Maybe when it goes on sale or something. And I'm sure people will love it for being cutie and stuff. I don't know if it's going to reinvent the wheel, but we will see. The highlight of March on the PlayStation front is that there will be some sort of state of play showcase style of event. I don't think it will be actually branded as state of play. In 2020, we sort of started to see Sony rebrand the state of play into being more deep dives into specific games. We saw that with Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us Part 2 all got state of plays, Demon's Souls got its own state of play, and just a couple weeks back, Destruction All-Stars got a state of play randomly dropped on their YouTube channel. So at least for the time being, I do think the format of a state of play being this big place where we can go for release date reveals and big PlayStation reveals and things of that nature, I think those days are done for now. And in their place, I think we'll get something along the lines of the big PS5 showcases we had last year. These were just called like the future of PlayStation, the future of gaming events. They're just generic PlayStation showcases. There were 2 of them last year, and these were packed with upcoming announcements, trailers, that sort of thing. I do think they're going to stick with that. Not that they have a console to reveal anymore, but I think in terms of their big blowout stuff that would traditionally be their E3, even if E3 does go digital, I think Sony is staying away from it. I think they've made that position pretty clear over the last couple of years. And instead, I think we're going to get a couple of these sort of big PlayStation showcases that are just digital events, well cut together, well edited, with cool reveals throughout. And I enjoyed the last 2 showcases a ton, so if they continue that pattern like I think they will, I'm going to very much enjoy that. That's going to be a lot of fun. So the first one of these reveal showcases for PlayStation will happen in March. I think it's important that Sony starts to clarify a lot of information concerning their upcoming games. We have a big slate for PlayStation Studios. We know what's coming, but we don't know exact details. We still haven't seen a lot of gameplay from certain things, and we still don't have a lot of release dates. And I think it's time they get ahead of themselves and they start revealing some information. They start revealing some release dates for things, or at least some release windows. And you know, lately, like with a game like Returnal, that I'll talk about in a second, but they've been doing things like just posting the release date on the PlayStation blog in a tweet, really low-key things. Some of these announcements, they've had precedent of not saving them for showcases anymore. And while, yes, it's possible that we end up getting the Horizon Forbidden West release date in a tweet, I think that game and other games they have coming down the road, I think they're too big for that. Maybe I'm just thinking traditionally, but I just see that happening in a showcase style of event. That combined with the sheer amount of games they still have to talk about. Their Twitter would be very busy this year if they, for every single game, announced every trailer, every release date, every inevitable delay in that format. I don't know. I don't believe it. But this showcase in March won't show anything mind-blowing. It won't reveal The Last of Us Part 3. It's not going to reveal 78 Silent Hill games. But it will lay out what 2021 looks like for PlayStation. We'll get another quick look at Returnal before it comes out the next month. We'll get a confirmation on the release date for Ratchet Clank Rift Apart, which has been continuously talked about as being a launch title for the PlayStation 5, or a launch window title, excuse me. Yet, we are very much firmly in the launch window of the PS5 right now, and there is still no release date to be seen. And funnily enough, it is the PS5 game that we saw the most of last year. There were 2 extensive gameplay demos released. So I feel like the game can't be far away. They need to start talking about it. They need to get the release date out there, and I think they're going to do it in this March showcase. Along with, of course, another final trailer sort of thing. We'll get some other trailers for smaller things like Solar Ash, and I'm sure there'll be an MLB The Show trailer. This is where we'll get another trailer for Horizon Forbidden West. That'll be the thing that ends the show, the big highlight of the conference, and it will reveal the release date. They'd already previously released this trailer on their YouTube channel, where Sony confirmed they are aiming for the second half of 2021 for this game. So that's why I think we'll get in this March showcase Horizon Forbidden West releasing in September of 2021, making it in the same area as a big holiday release title, without being overshadowed by your Call of Duties and your sports games and the shitload of games that come out in November. I think that's exactly where Horizon will release this year. But this showcase will lack any mention, any news of God of War Ragnarok, if that is of course what they call it. No spoilers, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. April, we'll see of course the confirmed, we know we're getting MLB The Show releasing on the 20th, and Returnal, one of the first big true exclusives to the PlayStation 5 from Housemarque, PlayStation Studios game. We know that's releasing on the 30th, it was just recently delayed. So we'll see those two games, and I think Returnal's going to be well received, I really hope it is. MLB The Show will be, you know, your standard baseball game, I guess, I don't know. I don't play them. In May, Deathloop, we know is coming out, is a PlayStation 5 console timed exclusive, I believe. It's still sort of unclear to me if it's a timed exclusive or not. The wording's been a bit weird. You can probably look it up, I apologise for not knowing off the top of my head. But this is an Arcane game, and it is a very interesting game because it is one of two 2021 Bethesda games that are exclusively tied to the PlayStation 5. After, of course, Bethesda is now owned by Microsoft, so very interesting situation going on there. But that'll be it for May. In June, Solar Ash is a smaller PlayStation 5 game from the creators of Hyperlight Drifter. The developers have been aiming for June, and I'm going to assume for the sake of these predictions they will hit that, and that will come out in June. The big highlight game release-wise in June will be the release of Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. They can't really push releasing it much more than June if they want to stand by their original statement of this being a launch window in quotes game for the PS5. By July, August, you're well and truly out of the launch window of the console, so I think June's their last chance. I think that's when it'll come out. And the fact we know it's one of the very first games that cannot run on a PS4 just based on the rifting system and the power of the SSD enabling that. That's pretty exciting for the game. I'm definitely looking forward to it. In July, Little Devil Inside will release. I don't really know much about this game, but there's been some gameplay out there, I think, so you can check that out, I guess. July will see the return of the State of Play. Yes, that's right, an actual, real, not a weird showcase, not something to actually really fully be excited about. A State of Play, and just like they did last year with Ghost of Tsushima The Last of Us Part 2, this State of Play in July will be all about Horizon Forbidden West. We'll know the release date, it's coming out in September, but it'll be a 20-minute showcase going deep into the features, plenty of gameplay, plenty of world exploration. Guerrilla devs will go into exactly all the new systems and what they're working on and what makes it unique to Zero Dawn, and it'll look great because, of course, right? Hopefully. I hope so. But also, July isn't quite done yet. This is when the heartbreaking news, but of course the so obviously inevitable news will break. Via the PlayStation blog and Twitter, Sony will release a very brief message confirming that the next God of War game will not be releasing in 2021, making it officially delayed. I don't think many people really believe that this was coming out in 2021 anyway. I certainly don't. Could it happen? Sure. I'm sure as shit not going to predict that though. Always seemed way too soon. The announcement of its delay is going to have to come at some point this year, and I think it makes the most sense for them to delay it before they even reveal anything else about it. I think the literal blog post title will be "The next God of War will release in 2022. We still won't know the title, we still won't know anything other than that stupid image logo thing that we got last year. But don't worry, I'll still have more to say on it. Well, I said that like it was going to be a cliffhanger, and then I realised it's literally right now. In August, there will be a second PlayStation showcase for the year. The final one. It'll be all out, there'll be some crazy reveals. It'll be what we're looking for, it'll be our E3 saviour. Even bigger than the first one earlier in the year, which just laid out the lineup for the year. This will feature some killer announcements, including the full reveal of God of War for PS5. What the hell is this game going to be? We'll find out here. We'll get a full reveal trailer, a full story trailer, maybe a chunk of gameplay, reaffirming the 2022 release window. There are still a few major unknowns regarding this God of War game that I need to predict. There's a lot of conversation around there regarding, will this game be a cross-gen game? We know, of course, Spider-Man Miles Morales released on PS4 and PS5, Horizon Forbidden West doing the same thing. Will God of War release on both the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5? Right now, it's a coin toss. I think we'll know the second we see it. It depends on how ambitious the game is. If it's a similar length experience to the first one, if it doesn't look like a huge graphical improvement, if it's just simply the next chapter in that story, which would of course be still immensely exciting, I think there's a chance it comes to PS4. I think obviously PS5 owners want it to be PS5 exclusive, so it takes full advantage of their super expensive console. So, it's a coin toss, but I do think, and I've seen a lot of people suggest it's coming to PS4 for all the same reasons that the other games are coming to PS4, and that's the fact that, guess what, there are only 4.5 million PS5s out there in the universe right now, and guess how many PS4s there are? 106 million plus. Put it on PS4, it's going to sell way more copies, makes a ton of sense. That's the prevailing logic. I understand the logic, and I agree with the logic, but I'm going to predict against it, just for the sake of being different, because I want to kind of throw something out there that's a bit risque, and hope I'm right. We'll get the trailer, we'll get the reveal, we'll know everything about it. 2022, PS5 only. And the other thing, of course, I've just been calling it the next God of War. Everyone calls it God of War Ragnarok. That's a logical title. The mini reveal we got had God of War, the logo and all that, and then this tagline was Ragnarok is coming. So everyone's sort of assuming and referring to the game as God of War Ragnarok. Would make sense, of course, with the first game story as well. And this is a situation where I'm going to do exactly what I just did, and I'm going to predict against the obvious logic, just for the sake of it. I'm going to throw something out there. The game will be called God of War something. It won't be God of War 2, because obviously we've been there, done that. It will be God of War subtitle. I don't think the subtitle will be Ragnarok, and I think people will be surprised. What will it be? I don't know, man. Could I predict that? Sure, but I don't know. Sorry. I'm not going to put that much thought into it, okay? I don't think it'll be Ragnarok. I think people are going to be thrown off. I think if it were God of War Ragnarok, we'd probably know it by now. You know what I mean? If Ragnarok is coming is the tagline, why would God of War Ragnarok also be the name? You know what I mean? I'm sounding a bit like a conspiracy theorist right now, but it makes sense to me, okay? That's everything we'll know coming out of the August showcase about God of War, whatever it's called, and it will come to PS5 in 2022. That'll be, of course, the main ending huge deal to take away from that showcase in August, but that is also the next time we'll see Final Fantasy 16. The possibility has been floated around that that game actually comes out this year. We know it's a PS5 console exclusive. We've only had that one lengthy reveal trailer, and sure, could it come out this year? Absolutely, but I don't think so. Final Fantasy games, historically, or not really historically, I guess just more in recent times, I'm just thinking of 15 and 7 Remake, take forever. They did take ages to announce the game, which is promising from a dev cycle perspective, that it could be coming out sooner than we think. I think we'll get a Final Fantasy 16, another trailer again, just like Square Enix loves to make like a shitload of story trailers. It'll be that, and we'll get a 2022 release window. There you go, already 2 banger PS5 exclusives for 2022 coming out of that showcase, eh? I've also just become a bit self-conscious of the fact that I keep saying this will happen, that will happen. I don't know shit, alright? This is for the sake of the video. I want to sound authoritative here. September for the PlayStation 5 will of course see the release of Horizon Forbidden West, and people are going to really like it. I'm going to really like it, hopefully. Will the PS4 hold it back? Maybe. I don't think that it will hold it back as drastically as it could, if that makes any sense. I don't think it's going to be this crazy ambitious game with RPG features we've never seen before. It's going to be very much sticking with the template of the first Horizon, and iterating on that is something the PS4 can certainly handle. The main thing that's up in the air is the story. I loved Zero Dawn's story for uncovering the mystery of Aloy and what happened to the world. Now we know that. What the hell else is there to discover, But I'm sure Guerrilla are well aware and they'll deliver something interesting. I think the game will get an 85 on Metacritic. I didn't write that down, I just thought I'd throw that out there right now. That's what I'm saying, 85, Horizon Forbidden West. And a second prediction for September, just a random one, but a very important one of course. This month is finally when PS5s are going to start to be accessible readily to everyone by just walking into your local store. Asked me a month ago, I would have said March, April, May area is when you'll start to be able to just, walk into the store, get a PS5 on the shelf. But with that recent news of part shortages and Sony struggling to meet demands and things, it makes me hesitant and makes me push that back a little bit. I think if you want a PS5 and you know, you'll be able to get a PS5, you'll have opportunities too if you're scouring the internet, if you've got notifications set on deal websites and things like that, you'll get a chance before then. But in terms of just walking into a store and buying one, I think September is how long it's going to take. Things get a little quiet for a little bit here. October will see the release of Ghostwire Tokyo, again that second Bethesda game that is exclusively tied to PlayStation 5. That's coming to us from Tango Gameworks and the original director of Resident Evil, of course, who is the head of that studio. Don't know if it's up my alley, looks sort of horror-ish maybe, but I don't know, I need to see a little bit more about that one, I think. That release date has already been announced, as has the release target window for Stray, which is some sort of PS5 game about cats. That's all I really got from the trailer last year. They've said they're aiming for October. I think they'll hit it, because why not, once again? And if it's about cats, I'll play it. I guess, you know, assuming it's not terrible and doesn't get awful reviews, I'll play it. Now, the big PlayStation exclusive, the tentpole franchise that I've failed to mention thus far in this entire video, unfortunately, is Gran Turismo. And we know Gran Turismo 7 is coming to PS5. We got an extensive reveal last year. It's presumably coming out this year. I think it absolutely will. Gran Turismo 7 will release in November on the PS5. I don't think Sony will mind releasing this game in November. Of course, they often don't mind releasing exclusive games in November. We saw that with Death Stranding. But I think, you know, Gran Turismo is a huge franchise that can hold its own against the very biggest in the industry. I don't know if it's as prominent as it used to be, but a Gran Turismo game, I can't quite remember off the top of my head, is it Gran Turismo 5? I think it is, my apologies, was the PS3's highest selling exclusive of all time. It's a franchise that can hold its own in the holiday season, and it's also this interesting thing of it's sort of niche enough to have its own audience at the same time. You know, the core gamers like me, I'm not going to play Gran Turismo 7. I'm interested in Horizon, God of War, all that stuff. Gran Turismo very much has its own audience. It's a huge audience, but it's still its own audience. So I think that'll make it stand out in November, and I think that's a solid place to release it. But that'll be it for PlayStation games releasing in 2021. Transitioning to December, ladies and gentlemen, I have one last banger prediction for you, okay? The Game Awards, of course, always happen in December. Sony doesn't really have much of an extensive history of turning up to these awards with big announcements. So this prediction isn't really backed by any historical precedent whatsoever. But screw it, okay? We've been talking about the secret San Diego team for so long. We know they exist. We've had people leave the studio, talk about the studio. LinkedIn profiles have acknowledged the studio. We know they're hiring. They exist. They're working on a AAA franchise for PlayStation. That's a fact. What that franchise is has remained somewhat up in the air, and I only say somewhat because we have a pretty good idea it's Uncharted. I feel like I've been talking about this for 2 years off and on the channel. It's been sort of a known, understood secret in the industry for a little bit. That's what it is. People from Naughty Dog shifted down there. They're working on a known franchise. I don't know, you can kind of put some stuff together with Uncharted. Uncharted 4 is the highest selling PS4 exclusive, and it makes sense to reboot it away from Naughty Dog. Let Naughty Dog continue on their own path. Uncharted 4 stays their finale to Uncharted. Well, I guess actually The Lost Legacy is. But you know what I mean. This Uncharted game, I believe it's 100% happening. I also believe it has to 100% be revealed at some point in the next 2 years. Okay? That's what I believe. I don't think it'll be revealed in the first half of 2021. I think it could be revealed the second half of 2021 or anytime in 2022. I don't want to spoil Uncharted 4's ending, but it will follow the obvious character from the end of Uncharted 4, if you know what I mean. I'm sure you do if you played it. And it will have its own subtitle. And for the sake of being fun, I'm going to say they do it all at the Game Awards 2021. Uncharted reboot is announced. We get a cool story trailer. It's not so much, we don't get any gameplay. It's not a super long trailer. It's more of a teaser kind of story trailer. We get some context of what's happening, what the story is, who we're following and all that stuff. But it'll just be the logo. No release window will be at the end of the trailer. So basically just the confirmation of, hey, look, it's Uncharted again, get hyped. So there you go, I just went through almost every month in 2021 and discussed PlayStation predictions. Overall, I think it will be a fairly quiet year for the brand. You know, there'll be a ton of cool games releasing for sure. Horizon's a huge deal, Ratchet Clank's a huge deal. It'll have a few big releases, and I think those releases are going to be well received, but, you know, I think 2021 in the long-term consciousness will sort of play a similar role to 2014 with the PS4, and that is the year that a lot of people jump aboard next gen for the first time. 2021 is going to be the year that a ton of people get their PS5s, get their new Xboxes, and it's going to be the continued transition between this generation and the last. which is of course only natural every time a new console releases. So for that reason, I don't think mind-blowing stuff is going to be released. Last gen it took until about 2015 until we started seeing big next-gen exclusives that were a big deal. The Witcher 3 came out in 2015, Batman Arkham Knight, all exclusive to next-gen at the time. So I think we're going to have to wait till 2022 for a similar thing to happen. So those are my 2021 predictions for PlayStation as a brand and the PS5. I had a quick look back at my predictions for PS5 last year and I was mostly wrong, naturally, as I will be this year. My predictions last year very much assumed E3 still existed, which, lol to that. I was correct about the price of the console. I was 1 day off on the release date predictions, so, that's pretty cool. And a lot of other stuff wasn't right, but hey, that's how it goes. So there you go, I look forward to revisiting this one next year and seeing just how catastrophically wrong I was. What are some of your predictions for PlayStation in 2021, if you've got anything specific, or maybe just let me know what your most anticipated upcoming PlayStation game is. Comment down below. I'd love if you did that. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, much appreciated. I'll see you all next time, I hope you enjoyed. Please do take care, and farewell.